Welcome to the Prowler Podcast. Today, we're thrilled to have Cole McAlpin with us, and we're ready to dive into his college journey in football while also shedding light on his experiences with high school recruiting in football from Simpson County Academy in Mendenhall, Mississippi. And Cole brings a unique perspective to the table due to showing athletes that they can make it to the pros from any level. So, without further ado, let's turn it over to Cole as he introduces himself and shares more about his background.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's my first time ever being on like a podcast or anything. Small school guy, just like they said. Made it to the NFL too. I'm excited to share a little information for all those small school guys that, have a lot of doubt put on them.
Right, and so you played football with Preston at Belhaven, and you were there
Right.
all 5 years. And so, since you were there from the start to the beginning, how did the recruiting world change, atmosphere change, due to the transfer portal being so wide open due to no restrictions? What did you see?
D3 level, the transfer portal is not really a thing. Like anytime we would have guys say "Oh, we're getting in the transfer portal," we'd be like, "Dude, that ain't a thing for D3." They would just might as well just say you transfer or you quit. And Preston can tell you, when we got there, we were in a bind. Even up until my sophomore season, 6 straight 2-8 seasons. So it's really hard to recruit guys to a team with those stats. And D3, most of the time, you're paying to go to school. No athletic scholarships, nothing like that. So you really got to go after what I see nowadays with the transfer portal is guys going 3 or 4 different schools. I'm not a big fan of that. I think our senior class was 22 guys at Belhaven this last year, and we were the best team to ever do it there. And you don't see that with schools at that level because they can just go and pick from wherever they want. This is just a money game now. Whoever's going to win the national championships, whoever's got the most money. But you don't see very many program players now. It's sort of what we had. All 22 of us came in from pretty good high schools, small high schools at that. And you build on those guys for 5 years. And last year, us winning conference championship, going to the playoffs is what you get once you reap your harvest of those guys putting their nose in the ground and grinding for that long and never giving up, never turning their back on the guys that trusted them from day one, coming from a small school.
Yep, and you talk about that. Coach McCormick was big on that. I'm curious how he's going to do it at Northwestern State now, because Northwestern State is at a D1 level now, and I'm sure he's going to have to kind of adapt to the new transfer portal environment. To be able to cross. I'm pretty sure I heard he took a couple kids from Belhaven with him over. Is that true, Cole?
Yeah, he took one guy. He was our Mike linebacker. You got to be crazy to play Mike linebacker, and he is all of it. I loved him. I wish the best for him over there at Northwestern State. I think he can do good things, especially because, they have kind of the same rap that Belhaven had when he came to Belhaven. I think they even had their season shut down last year for some stuff going on. And, he's known for that. He's going to take these bottom-tier teams, and, it may take a few years, but I put my heart and soul in that guy's process.
Oh, yeah, because to know what he built Belhaven into, that everybody never thought would get to the level it is at now, that speaks character, because when you're in Jackson, first off, is a hard city to recruit in, period.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that with Dean at Jackson State. He had to invest a lot of money to get anybody interested to come from there. So that just shows you that if you can build a program that sustains athletes after each year, you can get to that point at a college level,
right?
And get the recognition too. Because you were there last year. Y'all have, I think, 12 NFL teams.
I think I had 20. 20 came and watched practice.
That's insane. 20 NFL teams coming. But
Yeah, I never believed it. But I think the thing that kicked it off was my junior year. JSU has a rising senior pro day, and I think it was Boatman and I and Colby from Belhaven, and it was just the local schools around there, the smaller schools in the state, Delta State, Alcorn. I don't know if MC had any guys there, but I ran a 4.97, and anybody over 300 pounds running under a 5 is like a big alert for the NFL. They're going to lock in on you.
Oh yeah. Sure. So, so in the final 2 years, your final 2 years when the transfer portal got big in college football, what made you not want to test out the waters? What made you not want to what made you want to stay at Belhaven and not test out the waters to leave and go somewhere maybe bigger?
I got a lot on that. I did have a little bit of Mississippi State connection, saying if you go to Co-Lin for this fall and play ball, we'll pick you up in the spring. But I wasn't really a big fan of that because I could go to Co-Lin, get hurt and get dropped off of there, and then I'm really in a bind. Or who's to say, like you were saying with the transfer portal thing, I'm mid-season at Co-Lin, and then Mississippi State's oh, here's this 6'7" guy. We got him. Forget about you. And then I'm in a bind again. But really, I had a chip on my shoulder. Coming out of high school, I graduated with 46 people in my class, and that was the biggest class ever come through there. And I think the only teams I had recruiting me were Millsaps and Belhaven. And I think this probably be good for later on. What you guys are doing, I think, is a really good thing for high school kids that I wish I would have done, because my problem was I thought everybody was going to come to me, and that is not the case. You got to get your name out there. And so all I had was Millsaps. Belhaven came to recruit 2 guys from my school, and they actually threw my name out there while they were talking to them. They were like, okay, go get it. And I went in there and I met with Coach Potts, and from then on, it was really downhill from there. I was all in, and I went on a visit to Belhaven. Loved it. Tried on jersey number 81. I thought I was going to play tight end. Didn't happen. We can all have dreams, though. Then right after that, I went over to Millsaps right across the street, and my recruiter was the defensive coordinator, and they have stairs that walk down their field, and somehow he was walking up the stairs and I was walking down them. He just looked at me and kept walking. And I was like, this guy's been talking to me 3 months. He just walks by, acts like I don't know who I am. Screw that guy. I'm going across the street. And that's the best decision I ever made. Best 5 years of my life. I had to start as a freshman. And I had to go against Liam Vincefora. That dude was an All-American, a dog. Dude was a great defensive end. And I ran the veer in high school, and we may have thrown the ball 3 times all year, and we cut on 2 of them. And so I did not know how to pass block. I think I gave up 5 sacks in my first ever college start. And he let me hear it, as he should have. And it pissed me off from then out. I still hate Millsaps to this day. I'll hate them going into the grave. And I hope we beat them by 90 every year.
That's how it is, man. That's just how it is. There's studs everywhere. You look.
Oh, yeah.
There's studs everywhere.
A prime example of that, Cole, is I know y'all weren't in America Southwest anymore, but when we played Mariahana Baylor and Hardin Simmons, there was some absolute dogs on that team.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was always questioned, do they get the Baylor dropouts, stuff like that, Abilene Christian dropouts?
Yeah, literally, because you remember that Fitzgerald kid, that number 2, that white safety there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude was a 6'2". I'm pretty sure he had to weigh 200 pounds, but dude could absolutely fly.
Oh, yeah. He did all that, CrossFit stuff. Yep. Dude was insane.
I'm pretty sure he's playing the Canadian Football League right now. Pretty confident he
Yeah,
is.
I haven't seen much of him. I was hoping, I was like, that guy's got to be playing somewhere right now. He was crazy good.
But honestly, their whole team was that freaky on defense. Their defense was freaky.
Oh, yeah.
And and that's why they won, I think, 3 back-to-back early on. I think they won it the first year you came to Belhaven. They won the national championship. They haven't won since, but they were animal. And just like you said, it literally was like the dropout to Baylor. But they've had so many kids come through there that's made the NFL. Like Jalen Reed Mavis, who played at the Cowboys for a while. He came from Baylor. It shows you no matter what level you play at, you got the talent. They'll find you. Just like you said, you went to that day in at Jackson State, and they said run that 40, and that's when you start drawing interest. It just shows you that if you get your name out there and push it, you can make it. If you get the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're good, they're going to find you no matter what. If you got the skill, they're going to take you. It doesn't matter where you went, where you come from, they're going to find you for sure.
Yep.
But so Cole, coming from a 5A private school, right? What can you tell like current high school athletes that are struggling to get recruited?
Bringing that back up from earlier, I think it's a great thing what you guys are doing, and I think they should be all for it, because I was from a smaller school, like I said, graduated 46 people. Most college coaches aren't going to give that much attention because they're going to think you're not playing as good a competition as like all these 6, 7A high schools are. And it hurts you as far as getting your name out there because they're not looking you up. Your coaches can throw your name out there, but they want the best of the best. But I mean, I was the only guy come out of my school that played college football. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one out of Simpson to ever go to the NFL. And I mean, it goes to show like you may need a little help getting out from those smaller schools, not getting all the attention, but they're going to find you.
And with you saying that, Cole, about our service, that we tend to help a lot of kids that are below 5A schools because they realize first off, they don't got the resources at their school. They don't got, a lot of these 6A and 7A schools here in Alabama. I don't know if it's the same in Mississippi. I'm sure Jackson Prep and a couple of those got it, but they got like a specific recruiting coordinator that helps them do that now.
Oh, wow.
And these lower schools like 4A and 3A and 2As, they don't have those resources to assist them in that area. So a lot of the coaches that have recognized our service, like there's a school outside of Decatur, Alabama, here in north part of Alabama, that we have a big connection with, and we get a lot of athletes from there. He's a school that we sent down athletes last year to go play D2 and D3 football. But that just shows that if you invest in our service, first off, you're going to get your money for what we do for you, because we're not like NCSA where you just put your name in a profile and you got to hope the coach goes and looks at you. We're actually reaching out to college coaches through your email and your X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And it's actually automated, so it's going to get sent for you. You don't have to worry about it. You just got them to see if they respond. So that's the biggest thing that high school athletes need to realize. The recognition part is what you got to do. Will realizes that because, granted, he came out of one of the biggest private schools in Memphis, and he's got several friends that play in the NFL now. But if you're not at that big name school, you're most likely not going to get found unless you push yourself at prospect camps, specifically at colleges, and push your name big time out there.
I mean, still, even with big schools, you still gotta. If you want to go play ball somewhere, you still have to, put your name out there and, send messages to those coaches. Post all your highlights, huddle, stats, all that stuff, because it's not going to come to you. It's like anything, it's not going to just land in your lap unless you're some like big 5-star showing out all these camps. You can get looked over, like going to those big camps. You can get looked over like that. So. You have the talent,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing with you guys. Like Preston, you played D3 ball with me. That's pretty much like it is a lower level of football. Will, you're at Ole Miss. Like you said, Ole Miss is one of the biggest transfer portal schools in the country. So like high school kids, they can know, YouTube know like the highest, craziest level of ball to like D3. You better grind.
Yep.
You guys know where to put guys.
Oh, for sure. So you said you had Millsaps and you had Belhaven out of high school. Those are your only offers you
I had a
had?
PWO from MC, but
Mississippi
I
College?
wasn't about to do it. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, look what you did at Belhaven, man. You know, went 5 years, showed out, did great, and you ended up going to the Chargers. Man. It's pretty insane. So, did you use any recruiting services out of high school?
I didn't, and I didn't really know. Like I said, like I was one of the few guys to go play college ball out of my school. So like, I mean, I had great coaches, but like, I didn't know anything about recruiting, stuff like that. So, I mean, that's another thing with like smaller school guys. They're not around a bunch of guys that went to play at the next level, so they don't know what the first step is. I didn't know what the first step was, and that's what I was doing. I thought they were going to come to me, and I wasn't putting my name out there for them to come to me, and so it didn't really happen. And so having somebody like you guys to put your name there, and so the coaches see you, they know you, and then they're like, okay, check this guy out. Instead of like me, I was just sitting over there, wasn't flashing anything, nothing.
Correct. And that's what we try to do. We've built this thing out. It's called the PRS Roadmap to Success, pretty much. It's the Prowler Roadmap to Success is what it stands for. And it's a spreadsheet that is mapped out to each level what you need to do. And it shows you once we complete that for you, all the way from the recruiting questionnaire to the coach's Twitter being followed. And in that spreadsheet, each university, no matter what level, it's got the D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, and we also just added the NCAA because on the last week's podcast, we had one of my friends from high school on here that played at that level at baseball, and he shone some light on that because that's a new program that's coming up, and they got several football schools that people don't realize.
Yeah.
So in that spreadsheet, they have all those schools listed, and they have their separate tabs built out for them, so we know which schools get contacted. And when those schools contact us back, it automatically highlights that row for that school green. So we know, hey, we've been in contact with the school for you. We need to stay on them to try to work that offer, because the thing I've seen through my brother's recruiting process, through mine, through other kids that I've assisted so far, is that if you don't stay on these coaches and stay on their radar, like be their latest message in their Twitter bio, you'll easily get forgotten about. And that's our goal with the AI system I've built. It's going to try to make sure you're at the top of the list always. You might be the last player they're thinking of talent-wise, but they're going to keep seeing your name, and they're slowly going to see something that might trigger themselves,
Yeah.
Like last year, I had a safety, kid could fly. He tall as anything, but he only weighed 160. He was borderline in discussion to get a PWO from Mississippi State. That would have never happened if it wasn't for us. And that's not giving me a pat on the back, not giving me a service pat on the back, but I don't think that would have ever happened if it wasn't for us pushing his highlights and everything at the top of the list nonstop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the numbers, he's not tall. He doesn't weigh much. I mean, those big schools like that, I mean, they don't even see you. They just look right over you. But you guys like pushing the stats, film, it don't lie. It does not lie. And that's, like you said, where it pays off.
That's Preston's whole goal, like him developing all of that, like getting these kids that, wouldn't think the world of going like playing ball in college, but they want to. That's crazy how he almost got a PWO from Mississippi State, but he's still going to play ball at a good college now. And
he's going to Illinois College. Cole, I don't know if you heard of them. They're a pretty big D3 school up in Illinois.
Where at?
Illinois College. They made the playoffs last
yeah.
year. They made the playoffs several times now, actually. But that's where he's going to play. They pretty much
Nice.
guaranteed him to start a safety, and I told him he'd be crazy not to go since they're pretty much telling him that. I said when
absolutely.
they're winning history and their program consistency, I said that'd be a wonderful spot for you. Because first of all, if you do choose to test transfer portal out, you're gonna get quality film because you're playing at a school that's known for talent. So
Yeah.
He's gonna go up there. Yeah, he's gonna go up there and get in a program. Get better, faster, stronger, and and if he does show out, you never know what could happen, right? And so,
Right.
that's what's your talking about, what's your opinion, Cole, on going smaller to get more playing time, like lower, like division, and to get more recognition to maybe transfer up and have a better chance?
Yeah. I've seen both sides of that at Belhaven. Coming from a smaller school, I was always I had the mindset of like, this is where I'm at. We're fixing to win here. We're fixing to turn it around. I'm not going anywhere else. Once I got to Belhaven, I really had those aspirations. I was like, all right, I believe 100% what McCorkle's preaching to us, and that's what we're going to do, and I'm not going anywhere. But we had a few guys through the years that would come in and just show out and want to go chase dreams somewhere else. Some of those guys would have been amazing to have on the team for all 4 years or 5 years, whatever they had, and get what we got last year, conference championship, and it's only up from here. But if you think you can make it at the next level, if you want to go shine, run out in front of the much larger stadiums, in front of a whole lot more people, I mean, go for it. If you got that mindset, go for it.
So, was Javon Wims, the receiver that went to Georgia and then to the Bears and everything, was he there before y'all?
yeah, he was there before us. I think he came in actually right when Hal Mummy just got there. He only was there for a year. He actually played at Hines Community College before he came to Belhaven, and then he got a PW to go to Georgia. So
that was before the portal. Also, like he transferred.
Yeah.
So, he went there and he became one of the best receiver on the team.
Yeah, that year.
Yeah,
I can't remember who his quarterback was. It was either Aaron Murray or Jake Fromm.
It was Fromm. I remember. He was good for a couple of years there at the Bears too.
Yeah.
That video of that guy smacking is it Lattimore in the face?
Yeah, Marshawn Lattimore smacking his face.
Yeah.
That was him. That was him, Cole.
That was
Nice.
pretty funny. But no, that dude. He was nasty. I think was Riley really there too with him at Georgia? Yeah.
No. Yeah, Riley really was there, but he was a redshirt freshman, I think.
Yeah. And then I don't think Riley went anywhere. Did he go? No, that was Calvin that went to Atlanta. I don't think Riley went and played anywhere.
I don't know. I don't think Riley made it anywhere.
Like Cole, like talking about transferring and stuff. What advice can you give an athlete in the transfer portal or a high school athlete on what to work on to make them stand out not only on the field but also in the classroom?
Preston, did you say y'all have like a questionnaire thing that they fill out when they come in?
Yeah. So when they first, either when we first contact them or they find us, it's in our bio. It's a questionnaire they go fill out. It's basic information like where they go to school, their GPA, height, weight, and other measurables that need to be known for certain sports. Whichever sports you select, it'll ask you different ones. You pick football, you're going to see 40 and those kind of measurables. So yeah, that's what we kind of get in the kind of run.
Okay, yeah, I think that's huge. Because there is a downside of the portal, and I think it is because these coaches look at the portal and they're like, the first thing you're going to think of is like, why is this guy transferring? And I think that's where like the questionnaire for high school level is going to help you big time, because the coach is going to know, like, he wants to know what kind of guy this guy is. Is it somebody I want to bring into my program to help build it? Is he going to come in here and tear it down? And I think that's a big thing for the transfer portal too. Like, we had a guy try to transfer in from another school in our conference last year. And we're like, oh, wow, like that would be big. And then we found out his GPA was like horrible. We're like we can't have that. Like, he wouldn't even play for us. So it's beyond what you see on the field. Your GPA, what kind of guy you are, because coaches are gonna know. They're in a big circle, just like all of us players are. Like, they're gonna find out everything about you. So I mean, if you're a good guy, you got good grades, you got the film. That's gonna help you and take you so much further and put you so many steps ahead of these other guys in the transfer portal that have a bad rep, and don't have good things on the field, off the field, a lot of things that could hurt them.
Yep. And a prime example of that is we have a kid right now here out of Huntsville. He goes to private school, small private school, kind of like yours. I think they might be a little bit bigger than yours, Cole. But he's a receiver, but when he first came on to us, he wasn't getting much looks. But now he's been invited to 22 D1 prospect camps this summer.
Nice.
And but a thing that stands out to him, to a lot of coaches, is he has an ACT of a 30 and a GPA of a 4.11. That's you're not going to see that in college athlete, right?
No.
So in our AI message, it automatically draft those numbers, and when it shoots a message to those coaches, that'll be at the top of the thing in their bio. Is that, hey, this kid's got a GPA of 4.11 and he's got an ACT score of 30 now. So when those coaches catch those things, it rings a bell, because they're like, I don't have to worry about that kid in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goes back to what you're talking about, and that also kind of makes the transfer portal iffy, because college coaches we're seeing more and more at the D1 level specifically kind of deterring away from going to high school athletes, because they don't want to babysit them anymore. They notice that kind of trend when these high school athletes come from high school environment to college environment. They got to deal with all the parties and everything else that come along with that kind of environment. They want a kid that's already been through it at a smaller school, and that can kind of mature better, So that's another thing we're seeing. I know Will's seen several kids on down, and they're having to go repeat at JUCO level. They find themselves. So,
I mean, I think I want to say, so that number one JUCO receiver that just transferred to us, I want to say he came to us first, and then because of his grades, he had to leave. And it was before, I'm not really familiar with it, but he went to the JUCO, and now he's coming back. He was like, I can't remember his name, but it just shows you, even if you do mess up, you can go back, work on it, come right back to the same level. You can do really anything. But see, that's what I think is good about the portal. These kids that go to school, mess up, they have to go lower. They had the talent. They already showed they had the talent to play there. They just needed the mindset. You go to these smaller schools, do the same thing there. Work on your grades and stuff, and then go back to the same level. But last thoughts on the world of sport, like current world of sports, Cole. What do you think about the transfer portal, like appearing to be more like free agency due to like multiple topics, but mainly NIL? And how can this be challenging for a young high school athlete to maneuver?
I mean, I can't imagine being a high school guy nowadays with the portal being as big as it is. And on Twitter, I saw I'm sure you guys saw it too, the Texas recruiting visit where they had all the Lamborghinis sitting outside. Oh, yeah. I think it's that's getting way out of hand. Like I said earlier, it's whoever's got the most money to throw at the biggest 5-star player, they're going to get him. I can't remember I think it was a quarterback that was trying to transfer somewhere and wanted a certain amount of money from a school there, and he got there and they didn't offer him anything, so he left.
But yeah, it was the Florida we talked about. We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks in the podcast.
He's at Georgia now, but he went to Florida. He filed a lawsuit, didn't he?
Yeah, he filed a lawsuit against him.
Yeah.
And
went
Billy
to
Napier
Florida.
said he can do what he wants, but he wasn't good enough to play for us. So
Well, I
Jeez,
guess he's good enough to
like
play for Georgia. I mean,
I guess
Yeah,
so. But that shouldn't be a factor in the game. Like you should just want a ball. Like getting paid, yeah, it'd be awesome, but it shouldn't be how much money you can throw at somebody. Like I feel like that's taken away from the NFL too. Like you got
Yeah.
guys that are going to want to stay in college because they're getting paid X amount of
the
money.
same amount. The same
And
amount.
yeah, and you go get hurt and you're done with the NFL. Like
which
you
I
should
think
get
I mean, I
paid
think
just as much.
I think NIL is a good thing, but they need to definitely put some limits on it because
yeah,
playing ball, like you're risking a lot and you should definitely get paid. But there's a lot of ins and outs that we don't know about, and like it can get bad real fast.
yeah,
it
and
just
you talk about that. The NIL's got pros and cons. Like first off, if a school, because colleges just get approved that they can pay you too out by themselves. The NCAA just approved that. First off, the college is already paying for your tuition because most of these athletes are on free rides. So you're pretty much already being paid to go to college. It just everything's covered, so you don't see it, but you're getting all the resources that most of these other kids at the D2 and D3 level don't get.
Yeah.
So on top of that, with the NIL, yeah, the NIL is nice, but there needs to be some respect to the university still, because just because you can leave Florida State and go to Florida because you can make another million, that shouldn't be the deciding factor, because Florida State
exactly.
gave you your first opportunity.
But then look at it. Are you going to turn that down?
Honestly, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. These young kids now, they got so many decisions. Like if I walked up to Texas, like Cole said, and I see those Lamborghinis and they're advertising it to me, man. And they're not only advertising that to high school athletes; they're advertising that to other college athletes in the transfer portal right now. So, like,
Oh yeah, and it goes all over Twitter. So like every college football program seeing that.
Yep.
Like how do we compete with that?
Yeah. So it's raising different concerns. I do like the NIL because it's making kids actually stay in college and get their degree, and not rush to the NFL, because we see kids all the time that make it to the NFL and they don't make it, and then they're going bankrupt. There was a NFL athlete the other day that was talking about it, that he got hurt and he pretty much blew all the savings and a bunch of BS investments that he had, and now he don't have nothing to show for. I actually was looking at that yesterday, and so that I see that kind of balancing it, but then I also see this other dynamic that is a raising issue now, because high school a kid that's below 21 don't need to be driving a Lambo. I mean, it's an activity waiting for disaster at the end of the day,
And speaking of that, they're bringing NIL to the high school level in Florida.
Yep.
It's insane, and they just approved that last week. High school athletes can now make NIL to the companies, and so what do you think about that, Cole? Like, what do you think is going on with that?
I mean, like you said, like there's definitely pros and cons to NILs. But I hope, like, if they're just now going to get it going in high school, they don't do it like they did college. I feel like in college, they just it's legal, and it blew up way more than they thought it was. And now they can't go back and cut down on it, make restrictions, because it's going to piss everybody off, because everybody's taking it as high as they can. And there's no way you can cut down on it now. So hopefully on the high school level, they shouldn't be they shouldn't be doing all this stuff like we're seeing with college and Texas, and guys paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, they're high school kids.
And at the end of the day, I know Georgia and Florida are the two states I know for sure that's allowed it. Georgia will be this will be their first year in football with NIL deals. And I mean, that's why Dylan Raiola, that was committed to Georgia originally, that decommitted and went to Nebraska now. That's why he moved all the way to Georgia, because he could make money in high school.
And Cole, if you were in high school still and, they approved that in Mississippi, what would you have done?
My honest opinion on it, like I think it could be good in this aspect. If you're from like a local town that's like big on going to high school games, really supportive of your school, and they're like, hey, we'll give your offensive line a free meal for lunch every week during football season. If y'all put our sign up on your football field or something, or you shout us out on Facebook or whatever, I think that's awesome. It's you getting involved with your community, bringing everybody together. But as far as like paying somebody to move high schools, stuff like that, I think that's where it crosses the line. I'm all for it, bringing people together as a community, but outside of that, I think it's too far.
I think public schools are definitely going to benefit more because private schools are going to have, limits on that. They can limit that. If you come here, you're not doing that, right?
Yeah, and they also have state funding, so they're not going to have as much money.
Right. Yeah. So I think public schools are definitely, like the bigger public schools are definitely going to benefit more, I think. Yep. But any closing remarks, Preston?
No, you can go ahead, Cole.
Shoot, my bad. I forgot I said Preston.
No, you're good. I was just wondering if he had anything to say on it. You're good.
Go ahead, Preston.
No, if the high school levels do and more states keep approving this, I just hope they put more restrictions in place than what college levels got now, because I hope the college, in specific the NCAA level at D1, start making more transfer portal restrictions. Because, like, if these schools are going to start paying these kids more than their tuition, there needs to be like some restrictions on how many times they can transfer in their duration of their career. Because it needs to be a certain amount of loyalty to a university at the end of the day. I'm all for if a kid wants to follow a coach to another school. I don't see a problem with that, because he created a relationship with that coach. But as far as just chasing money, I think there needs to be a little bit more people humbled in that area, because I think we're getting carried away. As we see with Caleb Williams that just went to the NFL, he was trying to demand all this privilege BS that he wanted, and that's not how the world works, man. You get in the workforce, you ain't gonna be able to demand who you go work for. So need to grow up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank everyone for tuning in to the Prowler Podcast, and we look forward to continuing to expand your awareness of our platform, and look forward to partnering with those who are serious about playing their sport at the next level. And our weekly quote is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky. And our upcoming podcast, we'll have another active player or coach, and maybe even a former coach or player. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. And thank you, Cole, for coming on and taking your time to, talk to these high school athletes and kind of guide them into what they need to do to play ball at the next level. And so as always, Prowler up, and we'll see you all next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.